collegiate has really blown up. It used to be kind of nothing in the early stages, and now it's like super big. All these ex-professionals or ex-tier 2 players are coming now. So the scene is just becoming, bigger and bigger. Collegiate esports really is, it's the future, and we can compete with these teams.
Hey guys, this is Pedro and I'm back with a brand new interview, again covering Valorant, but not so much covering the VCT side of it. I'm paying attention to the challengers, any challengers for the 2024 season, and who I have here by my side is someone that not a lot of you might not be familiar with, but after this conversation, we're going to make sure that everybody in the scene knows exactly who he is. I'm here accompanied by Nahsie of Winthrop University. Winthrop University, of course, being the first collegiate team to qualify for the North American Challengers circuit for this year, but also in its entire history so far in its current format. So, just getting out of the way, Nahsie, like I said before, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you
And
for having me.
of course. And um, how are you taking in this entire feeling of just reaching challenges, doing it with a collegiate team? How are you taking all of this whole scene in?
Honestly, it's like a dream come true. These last like 2-3 days since we won, I can't lie, I've had a smile on my face ever since. It's such a big accomplishment. The guys really wanted it on this team. I really wanted it on this team. Being the first collegiate team to compete in challengers is just, it really is a blessing. We get to compete in college, get to compete at one of the highest levels, and still get our education. So it's 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 really crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I no doubt because I looked at your like Twitter followers. I think before the accomplishment you were like around like 800 or so, but now you already cracked like 1,000. So
Yeah.
in line with that, what's been the attention like surrounding you so far? After getting the job done and stuff like that.
I mean, we still know there's a lot of work left to do. This is just like one step in the direction of where we want to be at. Definitely a big leap, but we still got to keep going to work, competing at the highest level. Practicing, stick to our normal routine. Can't let this this accomplishment really affect us because we still have a lot left to do.
Yeah, but it's still a good time to just process it in, taking in
Hmm.
the accomplishment, because not anyone can do exactly what you guys have done, and especially so when it comes to just your position as the IGO of the team. And so um
Hmm.
covering just this version of the team, how was this whole thing come together? Because I believe when it comes to looking at the history of Winthrop University Valorant, it's seen a few changes within the roster, but this particular roster concerning this team, how was this whole project come together?
We made a decision at the beginning of the semester to bring in one of the older players, and the dynamic really just fit. We have a perfect amount of fragging potential and the perfect amount of knowledge potential. So the dynamic we have with this five is just kind of it's worked perfectly. We haven't been a five as long as some other teams or other colleges, but it just shows within like the last 2 weeks about the work we put in, and it kind of just like meshed together within the week of challengers.
Yeah, because I believe it's been 1 month, I believe, of this iteration
Yeah.
playing together, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And in doing so, like there's a sort of problems that would arise and when it comes to playing in a roster such as this, with people trying to get to know each other in such a short amount of time, and then brewing like synergy issues, communications issues. But it goes for the bad, but also goes for the positive side. So um, how did it even play to such a positive result playing with this roster?
Um, well, so we've all been together for the last semester, either on a team or just like at school in general. So we all have very good relationships with each other, any dynamic five that we have at the school. So kind of just bringing Jerk in, like we already knew the guy he was, we were already friends with him, doing stuff outside of the game with him. So, that makes it definitely a lot easier because, we do everyday activities together, like go to dinner, play board games, stuff like that. So it kind of was easy to bring him in because we knew what kind of player he was. We put him in the position for him to succeed, and he also did it as well to us.
And talk to me about the entire lineup, because of course, we got to get to know the we got to know exactly uh who consists of what, or what this team is consisted of,
Mm-hmm.
including yourself. Looking at the entire lineup, it features people that have played a good amount of tier 2/tier 1 Valorant before
Mm-hmm.
this current iteration of Challengers. But can you give me a run through as to who consists within the team and what kind of role they play, including yourself?
Yeah, so I'll start with Guck 107. He is mainly our Viper player, and you can trust him to just lock down a site. That's kind of what he does. He can lurk whenever he wants, lock down a site, but super energetic player, always gets the team going. He's like that guy when it comes to a team. Like, you want to be a teammate with him because of the teammate he is. And then regarding just Jerk, we kind of just brought him in last month, and he's already had a total impact on the roster. Whether he's playing Sova, he's mainly a Sentinel, so he's another guy who can just be trusted to lock down on a site. Go out there, get 2-3 kills before either dying or living. So he's another guy we trust to just hold a site, especially those two. And then Moobs, I've played with him for the last year. Yeah, this is my third semester with him, and I already know how he wants to play. Super frag potential player. No downside with him. Communication is great. He knows what he needs to do. He knows how he needs to play, and he's gonna always out there and give you 20. Go out there and give you 20. Regarding Infiltrator, honestly, one of the best players I've ever played with. The kid is a magician on Duelist. We send him in and he does his job, whether it's getting 1, getting 2, or getting an ace, really. So he's kind of that guy, we can send in and just let him cook, really. And then regarding me, Nahsie, I kind of mesh it all together, just the IGL of the team, tell the guys what they need to do, how they need to play the round out. And thankfully all the guys have a lot of respect for me. So they listen to me a lot. They trust my calls, and that's just kind of what I got to do. I can go out there and be calm, communicate with the team, lead the roster, and then I get to play my own game, which is frag potential as well.
How do you describe your leadership? Because of course, you got each IGO goes about their own business of leading a team, and yours is no
Hmm.
different. You have your own formula of how you breathe success in the present day and also in the past. How would you
Hmm.
describe your kind of leadership and play style? Because you already mentioned a little bit of fragging in there, so getting deeper into that.
Yeah, I'm definitely always trying to frag as well as calling, but um, I'm kind of like a tough caller. I'm gonna be like taking over the round more or less. Like, I'll be like, you guys, like, calm down, calm down. Let's go do this and go do this and do this. And I kind of want to just put the communications on my end so that my team can go out there and just focus on one thing, and it's entering into a site or retaking a site. So I kind of let them not communicate as much and let me do it as well, or because they trust me so much. So that's kind of like my call style. You'll also see me kind of go in first and die, and when I'm dead, I'm just purely communicating, telling them what to do, because I get to focus on, like, the strategics of the game after that.
Mhm. Yeah, and on top of that, like, what do you feel is the most difficult part of being an IGO, or more so, like, also competing in general? Because looking into your career, you've been playing in various levels, including the collegiate level. So that said, what do you feel is the toughest part of just you being you?
Um, Honestly, the toughest part is just, sometimes when we do lose match, like, I feel like it's real, like, I take it personally, like, it's really on me. Like, my team didn't do anything wrong. Like, I usually say, like, yeah, that's on me. I called bad. But I have a smart group of guys that if I ever do as a caller, shut down or like lose a strat or lose an idea, they kind of like pick me up on my back and be like, hey, I see a gap on this map or on this side. Let's look to go there. So, a great group of guys that, if I ever am down, they know when I need help, and they they definitely go out there and do that for me.
How how would you describe your role like outside of being an IGO? Because looking at also
Hmm.
at your VLR page, you basically played almost every agent within the game,
Yeah.
and you're more so. Are you more so like a flex player? Would that be fair to describe
I
you?
honestly I don't know. I kind of just play whatever the team needs on any roster. When I first came into Valorant on my first ever team, at a collegiate level, I was playing Smokes. Then right after that, I went to Duelist, and then after that, I went to Sova. Then I went back to Smokes, and then I played Breach all of last semester, and now I'm back on Smokes. So I'm kind of, I guess I would say I'm really a flex player, and a Smokes player at heart.
Yeah, because you for this entire qualifying run, you played basically every agent, like not really every agent, but like more
Every
so
role,
every role.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
like Sentinel, Smokes, Fragger, if Initiator, stuff like that. So
hmm
it really must have been a tough kind of thing to consider on top of just trying to strategize, plan, and also on top of
hmm
that, focus on yourself and just putting up the as good numbers. Well, not as good numbers as like your duelists and people like that, but still like that.
hmm
Yeah. And now covering into the entire qualifying run, you played against a very good share of opponents in their own right. Teams that have had tier 1 players, because I can just list them out to you, because like who is 22 GZ, Critical and Dazzle, people that played in challengers. One of them, I believe Dazzle, of course, last year, and Ambrosia had Calypso, and it's Shopify Rebellion, the reigning GC World Champions, and it's SaD, which also qualified before you guys. And then your final obstacle in Thinking Man, which consisted of Reformed and then Lear and then Anderson, people of course that I mentioned before, competed
yeah.
in the challengers level last year. And so taking a look at into the entire qualifying road, what were some of the things that you're most cognizant of, as in things that you needed to get done for each match for the road, and then making sure that the team's form stayed on the top level?
Um, I think uh it was easy to play in a same area. I think that's what really helps team dynamic. And we've been doing it for so long that like if we ever go down a map, like we can all like, since we're all in person, we can all group up like, hey, like, let's do this next time, like let's calm down, let's take our time. When you're online or playing a online qualifier, you don't get that dynamic in a team. So I think that being together definitely helped our run. But regarding the whole run, it was definitely not easy. A lot of map threes, a lot of maps in one day. But like I said, just all of us being together, we can hype up each other, fist bumps, like hugs after the match. So everyone wanted it, and it meant a lot, especially when we went through the run and just kept winning. We had so much confidence building up especially from day two.
Yeah, it really does. It really was an advantage for this team to do well, because I've seen the videos also on the team's Twitter account, and it showed you guys, playing together in a room in an environment where people can just like actually communicate with each other and just trying to figure out what's wrong, instead of just having to rely on like Discord or online, and then having
Yeah.
to go through that kind of stuff. How much of a crucial factor did that play into the team's run?
I think it played a very crucial factor because if anything went wrong, you know, people will take it more to heart when it's in person. Like I can take a player on the side and after a map and be like, hey, like let's calm down sometimes on these rounds. You don't need to do too much. And online they can't really know your true emotion or true intention. So like definitely being in person helps, take out those little nitty and gritty things.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I believe there must have been a moment in which this feeling that you had went from, okay, let's just try to do well in qualifying. Let's see how far we will go, and let's just see where it just takes us to then going, oh shit, we got a chance, we got a
Yeah.
chance. And so, when did that kind of mindset shift for you and also the rest of the team?
I think when we first saw the bracket and saw our seed at 4, we all like were like, "Oh damn, like, you know, these people believe in us. Like they know we have a good roster on our squad." And that's kind of when we were like, we can make this run. Like let's actually do this. Day 1 was kind of just, get like some of the earlier matches gone, but once day 2 got an effect and we kind of just won the first map, I think we were all super confident. We were like, we can take this home. So especially after day 2, we were so super confident that we were going to qualify. We were all playing some of the best Valorant we've all played as a team. So definitely right there was when we were like, we can really do this.
Which match do you feel presented the biggest difficulties for the team? Because of course, you guys went up all the way to the upper bracket semis where, one win then sent you guys through, but then you guys fell to SaD. And so even so, which match do you feel was the most difficult to overcome for you and the team?
I think definitely the SaD upper finals was like those guys played perfectly. I could not find any gaps in their game. But the one that was really, really difficult was the Ambrosia series. I think every map we were down like 7 or 8 rounds, and on attack side we just turned the switch. So I would have to say that series because I think first map we got steamrolled 8. We were down 8-1. Second map we were down 9-3 at the half, and then third map we were down 8-4 at the half. So I'd have to say that series because we had to make some miraculous hero plays, and we kind of just had to. Did my camera just turn off? But that was definitely the hardest series. Like I said, we were down 8-4, 9-3, 8-1 at certain times, but like I said, the team really trusts my calling, and going on attack side on all 3 of those maps, we were able to, in those last 2 maps, overcome the large deficit because of how much the trust the team has on me, and kind of just hero plays.
Was there moments in which you started doubting yourself, like as a player? Because of course, the stress of just having to play and deal with high stakes as you pass each map. Did that kind of affect you at all?
There's definitely stress and just going into it, cracking under pressure and such. But there's definitely not a time where I was ever doubting the team or myself. Even until like round 12s, I'm still going in there thinking that we can win this. Doesn't matter when we how much we're behind. That series kind of felt like we had it in our hands. Just a lot of mistakes on the defensive end.
Yeah, and then once you guys overcame that kind of series and everything that it had, then that felt like, okay, now we know what it takes now. That was kind of it, right?
Yeah, that's how it felt. I think after that series, we had so much confidence because being down so many rounds, we were like we weren't supposed to win the series, and after that series, we kind of just took off.
Of course, of course. I want to get your thoughts on taking on Shopify Rebellion because that's an interesting encounter that I saw.
Hmm.
Going in line with just having to see a collegiate team duel, but also that a game changers team doing well as a matter of fact. And as someone that has been covering the game changer scene for a good while, I want to know your input as to what they were like as an opponent. Having seen them compete and win the GC World Championship. So what was that like?
Yeah, first things first, huge respect to that roster. I respect all of those players. I've told them this in ranked games or just flat out, just in DMs. Like those girls are amazing. Like they can compete at VCT level and Game Changers level at the highest level. But going regarding that series, it was not an easy one. They were giving us a run for our money, but like I said, we all have a lot of respect for that team. We scrim them a lot because like I said, they're one of the best teams at their craft.
Oh yeah, sure, and of course, there was plenty of talk about Flores and how cracked she is. What was that like in particular? Taking on her.
We're kind of just trying to shut her down because she's really a gift to Valorant. It's hard to shut her down, but that's kind of the goal. Like avoid her, and the rest of the team is amazing as well. But Fluorescent is just it's hard to beat her.
I guess like the feeling is like once she's taken care of, then that's kind of it.
It makes it easier. It's not kind of it because the rest of
Okay.
the roster, still has a lot of potential, fragging potential. But taking care of her early is definitely like it helps. It helps.
Of course, of course, of course. And now, later on down, of course, you faced and then lost to SaD, and then that left you in a position where basically all or nothing. If you won, then yeah, you go to challenges. If you lost, then you got to try again in open qualifying. And you know how treacherous and how brutal that kind of thing is to have to like restart and just run it back. And so talk to me about that kind of experience, losing to SaD, how that happened. What do you feel was the issues that kind of plagued the team in that encounter, and then also bouncing back against thinking man.
Yeah, so that SaD Esports match was pretty difficult because there was nothing previous to that day. It was just like a random match at 6 o'clock. We definitely weren't warm, no excuses, but we weren't warm. They were way more prepared than we were. So just going into that series was definitely a lot more difficult. But the next day against Thinking Men, it's a later night match. We had our time, took a couple of hours to warm up, took a warm up scrim, and we were definitely way more prepared to play that match. That's why I kind of that Thinking Men game was, it looked a lot better for us coming out of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, as we've been mentioning throughout this entire conversation, you guys took care of the job in that final series, won it in Lotus, 13-8. And so when that time came for you guys to close the series and then just bring it home, how were you directing the team? What was your mindset like in terms of just staying focused and just having them focus on the match at hand instead of just looking ahead and just looking at the goal that was very close to reach.
I think all of us meant business that series because we lost previously. We were all like, let's just get this done. But Lotus against Thinking Men, I think we were down a couple rounds again, and same thing happened. We came back on attack. So, like I said, the team has a lot of trust in me. We made a lot of big plays. We made a lot of clutches. But I think we all meant business that series.
And business you definitely took care of. And you already mentioned it a little bit in the beginning of the conversation of just taking this whole experience, but what was it like for you? And we also saw video evidence of you guys celebrating in the university, but what was going through your mind when that series wrapped up and now everything's done?
It's kind of like just such a relief because it's something we've been working on all year. Um, our manager Branchies his goal was to build a challengers ready roster, and it was just a sigh of relief when we finally qualified. We kind of made we did what we wanted to do outside of collegiate, and there's so much more left with challengers now. But it was a big sigh of relief after winning that map.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting that you brought up Branchies and him being in Winthrop and just working with the team and just building that kind of roster. Of course, if any one of you are not familiar with Branchies, he was once a manager of T1 back before the pre-partner league days in North America, and so I want to know what the whole system is like in Winthrop, because of course, this team is not like any other collegiate teams, obviously, but um, what's it like, just having someone like him within your ranks and also playing in the collegiate system? Because of course, we've seen plenty of like content produced about what life is like competing in collegiate esports, but this was during like the early days of that kind of stuff. So what's it? What was that? What is that kind of experience like nowadays? As someone that has been competing in collegiate for a few years, stuff like that.
Yeah, so collegiate has really blown up. You know, it used to be kind of nothing in the early stages, and now it's like super big. All these ex professionals or ex tier two players are coming now. So the scene is just becoming, bigger and bigger, and it's just honestly being in it for these last 3 years. It means so much because like we I would say like me and my old roster SJSU, we were kind of like a staple in the collegiate scene. And now being at Winthrop, it's changed. Scholarships are coming in, so collegiate has really just grown, and it's showing to be the future of Valorant.
Talk to me about your history, because there was a thread that someone that goes by the name of Possible wrote describing yourself, and then also another member of the team, which is Moobs. But I'm curious about of your career. Can you walk me through a timeline of just your entire career, both competing in like tier two, three kind of stuff, and also on top of that, competing in collegiate?
Yeah, so when the game came out, it was COVID 2020, so the March, April, May area, and I lived in the Bay Area, went to San Jose State University, which was a local state university, and I saw Valorant tryouts for the team, and I was like, hey, might as well try this out. And at the time, I was, just immortal, playing ranked as here and there, and there's a group of 4 people there that were, older than me. I was an 18-year-old kid coming out of high school. These guys are 23, 24. They had a lot of experience in Counter-Strike Go, and they were like, "Hey, I want this kid to come play for the team with us." And ever since that day, I became a way better player because of those guys. And throughout those 2 years, we lost like a total of maybe 5 matches overall. We qualified for the first ever Red Bull Campus Clutch in Spain, and won a LAN in Atlanta, the CECC LAN. So my time at SJSU was just nothing but kind of just being a winner, and blessed to have that opportunity with guys that were older than me that could mentor. And then after that, or actually during that time, I was also playing at with Elysium, which is a tier 2 org, tier 3 org, and just was competing in the local nights, the local NSGs. After that, I took some time from SJSU because of some implications. Some of the guys left the roster, and I was like, I'm going to take this time to, explore my options. And I went to a team called Resonate, and I played with 4 guys that, without them, I wouldn't be, the player I am. The IGL Conti taught me so much about the game. And then after that, I was able to get an opportunity to come to Winthrop. And ever since then, at Winthrop, winning CVAL East, second place in CVAL LA Grand Finals, and now being here in winning Challengers. It's been a long journey, but nonetheless, of just a winning journey.
So you've been competing in basically two different sides of it simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's pretty grueling. Because as someone that I don't, of course, I don't play traditional, or I don't play like I was in like a college a student athlete. I just basically
hmm
played recreationally. But I understand
hmm
that this kind of stuff is very very tough to handle. Same goes for like traditional and then also esports, and it's just competing, doing well, and then on top of that, focusing on your studies. And
hmm
for studies, like, what's your major?
I'm a finance major.
Okay. So, like, exactly what in finance do you do? Like, what are you striving to do within that field?
Definitely the goal is, while playing Valorant, the goal is to work somewhere in esports, either as a business major or a player or something. That's definitely the goal because grew up with video games, grew up around esports. So that's kind of my goal. But, if really I'm just school is important more than anything. My parents are told me, you can keep doing this, you can keep playing, but before anything, you got to be good in study. So, having that support from my parents, and I just kind of have to do the one thing, which is go to school. It makes it really easy on me that I get to play a lot of video games while just getting my degree while I'm at it.
It's still fascinating to see, someone such as yourself to do so well and just make
Thank
milestones
you.
happen, like just fucking killing it.
Thank you.
Walk me through a usual day for you, because that's another thing I'm interested in knowing. Like from when you wake up to now, what's that kind of thing like with you balancing all of these things, studies, Valorant, and then also being a leader kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the guys, I'll just give like an everyday of like kind of like just a normal player. Like we wake up, go to class. Um Usually we're done at like 2, 3ish, get lunch, and then we all come group at the facility. Um we'll group at the facility, play a ranked game or two, kind of just chill as friends and stuff. Go get dinner at 5, and then right after that, we got to get to Valorant, whether it's scrims, practice, offline time, matches, because in collegiate you have so many matches. That's kind of our time, maybe like 5 to 9, 5 to 10. And then after that, a lot of us are kind of, just in here late nights, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So that's kind of when we do the homework, play the games, do whatever we kind of want. That's kind of like our free time. But usually the homework time is done from like 10 to 12. And then after that, we can kind of just play some ranked and stuff.
It's very, very extraordinary. Did you ever think you would be able to? Did you think this reaching challenges would happen to you, and specifically your team? Did that thought ever cross your mind throughout your career that you were capable of these things?
Honestly, no. Coming like no one expects a collegiate team to do stuff like this. They expect, tier two orgs to pick up tier one, tier two players and just have those teams dominate. But um, when I saw this roster that we built up, I was like, we can really do this. But like early on in my career, I would have never imagined of something like this.
Yeah, of course. And um, did anyone in the team believe that you got that this side was capable of doing it?
I think we all had a lot of belief when we got together. The beginning of this year, so a month ago, we like I said, made that roster change, and we were all like, we have one goal, and it's win challengers, and then after that, it's to compete in collegiate and win everything in there. So we all had the same goal, we all had the same aspirations, and it's glad that we got one step out the way, and we can work on our other things.
We've seen many collegiate teams try and fail to qualify for challengers and also compete with tier 2, tier 1 teams over the years in North America. I'm not sure about any other region, but still focusing on North America, various teams try and fail, um, but not you. So why you? What made you different?
A lot of the collegiate teams, like I said, they're like online teams. They don't, do everything, their everyday activities together. They don't, go play basketball together. They don't eat dinner together. They don't practice together. I think that makes such a big difference because all of us are together. We're kind of like a family. It's not like a teammate anymore. It's brotherhood. It's family. So I think that's what makes like the biggest difference.
Of course, of course. And now I want to now cover um ahead, cover the future. Now that you're in challengers, now that this whole thing is taken care of, do you have anyone in mind that you want to take on? Like, do you have any people that you want to face in challenges once everything like ramps up?
We have a lot of friends in a lot of these teams, a lot of respect for a lot of these teams. So there's not a specific team that I'm looking forward to play, but more or less looking forward to just, the overall experience in playing these teams. There's a lot of ex tier one, tier two professionals in this league, and it's definitely a milestone for a collegiate team to go in there. So I'm just kind of excited to kind of take on whoever's going to be in our group and play whoever we have to.
This field consists of, as you mentioned, very well regarded players, teams such as M80 and an Oxygen, people that have been a part of world championship teams, actual real business, and it presents quite a an overwhelming kind of thing for anyone to step foot into. Um, do you feel Do you feel a little bit of that, or anything else of that department?
I feel like there's no pressure. We kind of just got to play our game. Kind of. It's just like we got to go in there and just play the best we can. We know we can come out with wins and map takes and stuff like that. So we just got to go in there confident.
Of course, and in like before this accomplishment was made, I feel there's and also you alluded to it a little bit throughout this conversation about how there's a stigma to collegiate esports and how people didn't really pay much attention to that kind of thing. Huh. Compared to like them stepping up against the tier 1 teams and then also trying to make some noise within the competitions that consists of various levels such as challengers and open qualifying and stuff like that. um with this accomplishment, do you feel this kind of thing kind of now change the tide when it comes to overall respectability towards the collegiate level of like pro Valorant?
I think it definitely will because there were other collegiate teams in this qualifier that showed their worth, such as like Blinn. Those guys are, I got a lot of respect for those guys. They are super talented roster, and they're another team that were top 4, top 5, top 6 in this tournament. So they show that they can, they've proved that they can do what other tier 1, tier 2 teams can do. So I think us and them are showing us as in Winthrop and Blinn are showing that collegiate esports really is, it's the future and we can compete with these teams.
Is this accomplishment the best of your career?
Um, I would say so. I've had other accomplishments, early on in my career, whether it was going to Spain or winning MVP at LAN, but this one is probably the broadest and biggest because this is now, a lot more people know about this.
Of course, and hopefully this momentum will continue for you, Nahsie, and then the rest of Winthrop, and also the rest of the pro Valorant scene worldwide, not just North America, because this is unheard of when it comes to looking at challengers and teams qualifying for challengers. Um, so yeah, I think that about wraps up all of my questions. Nasi,
Sounds
thank you
good.
so much. Do you got any final words to share? Any kind of acknowledgments that you want to give to anyone outside in the world that is either listening or watching this whole video?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to shout out, of course, my teammates. Uh, without them, we would not be here. Of course, they trust me a lot. Shout out, Branchy's manager. Uh, just kind of brings us in as a team together. Great manager. Shout out, Bo, Josh. He's the esports president. He kind of sticks all the glue together, and of course, the media team. Max. He's been covering us, every LAN, every tournament we're at, and he does an amazing job with what he does. So the everyone at the Winthrop, other teams here, they had a lot of support through us throughout the whole week. So just like to shout out the whole school.
Of course, and hopefully this momentum will continue for the better for this team for this year. Nasi, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you so much
time. I
for having
really
me as
appreciate
well.
you. Of course, likewise, and best of luck in the future. Hopefully, this success will continue for this team, and I'll keep an eye on you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.